Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast. I'm Alec Berna. That's Mike Wolfgang. Matt coming on in a second. Sorry for the delay. We had a bit of technical difficulties before this stream started. That was on my end. My apologies to everybody. Few minutes late here. Thank you for sticking around. Mike, how's it going as we're waiting for Matt to get on in here?
It's going. I got one more day left of classes, so we're going good.
All right. Well, we're here. Casual Sports Podcast is happening. Thank you all for sticking with us, coming back. Still waiting on Matt to get in. But, Mike, we talked about a lot of basketball yesterday, a lot of different sports, and Matt's coming in here in a minute. How are you feeling right now about all this COVID outbreaks we seem to have in the NBA, NFL, NHL? I mean, Matt and I were talking about the Minnesota Wild game just last night against the Hurricanes. That game ended up getting postponed while we were about in the middle of our show. So what are you thinking right now of all the COVID outbreaks across the league? Do you think there's potential that we see another step down here this season?
I mean, it's expected. I mean, most of these leagues and most of these teams expected it, right? Especially with football, we're in the winter months. People are outside, playing football, with each other. And basketball, you see the same thing. There's some outbreaks. The Bulls had the outbreak like we talked about Monday, and there were some other outbreaks in some other teams. But it's expected. I mean, it's that time of year for it. It's not going to go away. It's never going to go away. So you just got to deal with it. I know the NFL owners are meeting today in Dallas to see what they're going to do with NFL protocols for COVID, but it's just something you got to deal with. I mean, we saw it last year. Hopefully things don't shut down, because I'd hate for, especially in NFL, getting playoff time, getting close to Super Bowl. I don't want to see fans limited in stadiums anymore. I want to see for those big games like the Super Bowl and playoff games, for home games, teams that get in the playoffs that aren't normally there. I want to see their fans packed and ready to go. So hopefully it gets handled. But like I said, it's not going to go anywhere. It's never going to go anywhere.
All right, Matt, now that you're in here as well, why don't we get into what happened last night with us, some high school basketball on ysnlive.com. I know I had a fantastic ball game between Brookfield and Crestview. It was absolutely spectacular. Came down to the wire. I had multiple guys going over 20 points in this game, one on either side. James Davis, the senior standout from Liberty, finished up with 25 points, including the game-winning layup. That was a three-point play. Missed the free throw, rebounded by Crestview, and they can't get a shot up in time and get one to fall. It was an absolutely epic atmosphere last night. Student section wanted me to give them a shout out as well, so here it is. Liberty claiming one of the best student sections. Actually, they wanted to claim the best student section in all of the Valley, so they've got to continue to show up this weekend. I want to see them all out there. If any of the Liberty faithful are watching, get the entire student section, get the entire senior class out here this Friday, and we can get something on camera or do something for it. If that side of the stadium is filled this Friday versus Brookfield, don't worry. There'll be plenty of action shots from the crowd if they can do that. But on the other side of Crestview, Kirkland Miller was going absolutely insane. Hit 3 straight threes to finish out the ball game. They were trailing big in that fourth quarter, and he just started drilling these things from deep to pull them back in. And then all of a sudden, this was a 1-point ball game. Then it gets tied, and then James Davis comes in to seal the deal. But it was an absolutely epic performance, epic game on both sides. Matt, how was your basketball night last night?
Oh my gosh, it was horrible. Okay. Brookfield they put everything they could in this game, and it just didn't work out for them. Campbell, they were just too fast, too quick. There was scouts from YSU that are unofficially looking at this kid from Campbell. His last name is Moore. This kid driving in the lane, putting up jumpers, three-pointers, anything you can imagine. He was doing it. He lit up this offense for Campbell. Kevin Moore, I believe his name was. This kid was insane. And, well, that's what really propelled the win, because you know what this final score was? Campbell scored
in the 80s, wasn't it?
Campbell was 82-49.
That's insane.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Isaiah Jones for Brookfield, who we saw was a fantastic addition on the gridiron. They regarded him all night. Brookfield started off on a 9-0 lead, 9-0 run. I'm like, all right, and that included it in an Isaiah Jones dunk, which he came flying out of nowhere. It was insane. And I think he only had 4 more other points than that. They they shut him down. He did good on defense, had some steals, and he had some flying out of nowhere dunks. This kid was literally gliding through the air. It was insane. So great play for him on the defensive side, but Campbell just too much for them to handle as they won 82-49. It was bad.
Well, that's insane, Matt. You got any more games tonight?
No more games for this week.
All right, I'm back in action this Friday and Saturday, but I got the next 2 nights off, so no basketball talk tomorrow. So let's get into college basketball and previewing the rest of the week here going into this weekend. Got a few games tonight that we've already talked about. USC, UC Irvine. Mike, you didn't get a chance to pick on that yesterday. I'll give you a quick minute here to take a pick there. UC Irvine or USC, the Trojans?
I'm going to go USC.
That's a good pick there. Solid. Both Matt and I went USC as well. How about this one? Potential upset: Nichols versus Wisconsin.
Ooh. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go Wisconsin. I don't want to screw things up. I'm just going to go Wisconsin. I was kind of tempted, but we'll go Wisconsin.
I'm the one that I rang the bell yesterday. I took Nichols. And how about Creighton versus Villanova? Both Matt and I went with Creighton. Nova now a 3-loss team.
I'm sticking with Nova. You guys know I like Nova, so I'm sticking with them.
We know you do. Somehow, somewhere, you love that team. So, continue to roll with it. All right. Well, Matt, our game from yesterday, the Hurricanes versus the Wild, ended up getting postponed due to COVID. So that one taken off of our list. Second NHL game that we've had to change up on. Well, actually, we didn't get to change on that one. Our Monday edition with the Blackhawks and the Flames, we had to reschedule who we were picking for that game. So COVID definitely becoming a factor more and more as we move into the season. You saw the Cleveland Browns today. In the last 2 days, they put 14 players on the COVID reserve list, and now including Kevin Stefanski, the head coach. So a lot of problems there. I think I saw similar things with the Rams, Odell, Van Jefferson. I think Stafford was on their COVID list as well. So a lot of big names going down to COVID. Got to watch out. Got to just stay safe out there for all of you traveling for this holiday season coming up. Countdown to Christmas begins. We're on the 10-day countdown. It's the 15th of December, boys.
Heck yeah.
But let's go ahead and look forward now. We got a big one coming up. I literally love this matchup. It's Butler versus Purdue college hoops here. What are your guys' thoughts on this? This one comes in this Saturday at noon. Big Saturday for sports. We got NFL, NHL, NBA, college basketball, college football, NFL. I mean, there's everything. I think every sport we talk about is playing on Saturday.
Did you say this was Butler versus Purdue?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Butler
Bulldogs 7-3, 9-1 Boilermakers.
Woo. I mean, this might be a game here. You got to look. I'm glad you picked this game to talk about. Purdue though, after that nail biter loss to Rutgers, really looking to rebound here. I don't see them losing 2 in a row to, teams that they should beat. But you never know. Butler, it has been a team in recent past that it really shows hey, we're part of this NCAA, this little thing called the NCAA, and we can play it too. So they just might come out and put their all into this game, and you have to keep an eye on that. But I look for Purdue to, maybe prevail a little bit.
Matt, I agree with you.
They were just number 1. They lost. I had them at number 2. Mike, I know you had them at number 2 as well. I still feel like they're a top contender, and they're not going to drop, 2 games like that again.
I mean, Matt, you're right about Butler. I mean, they're a team that they can play with people. I mean, let's not act what they can't. We know what they've done in the past, but with Purdue, they get that big win on Sunday against NC State, and NC State's a team that's 7-3, so they're playing good basketball too, and that was on the road. So they showed that they could bounce back after that road loss to Rutgers with a road win against NC State. So I think Butler can kind of scrap in this game, but like I said, I know Purdue's, I think, number 3 in the rankings. Matt, you had them at 2. I still view them as the best team in the country, so I'm going to
roll. I do too. Yeah.
Well, in our official rankings there, we do still have them at number 2. They filled the 3 in the AP poll. I'm also taking Purdue in this matchup. I like them. They have that consistent scorer in Jay Ivey, 16.4 points per game. And on the other side, you're just getting C. Harris, their guard, who's really not shooting well. He's shooting 35.7% from the field, and their leading scorer is averaging just 12 points per game. So to me, they just don't have that winning mentality we've seen in the past against some of these big names. And They beat Oklahoma, and I want to give them credit for that. But 7-3 right now, they got that nice win, but they also lost that 3 straight to Michigan State, Houston, and A&M. To me, the lack of consistency is there. I think they go back down on another losing streak. They have Purdue here. They got the Red Storm coming in after this in St. John. So I got Purdue, and I see this potential another losing streak for Butler coming.
I agree.
Well, next game coming into our slate also from this weekend, a huge one. Gonzaga needing to get back to the win category. The road doesn't get any easier for them, though. They have the 8-1, now ranked at number 25, Texas Tech. Guys thought this one coming from the Jerry Colangelo Classic.
This is a really good matchup. This is probably, I'm looking at the ones on Saturday. This is the best on Saturday. Probably. But Matt, you want to go first?
Yeah. Texas Tech. Hey, what? A couple of seasons ago, weren't they in the March Madness final?
Yep.
Weren't they
with Culver and the guys?
Yeah, Jarrett Culver. Yeah. Didn't they end up winning?
No, I think they lost in the final, but they were in the final.
Go ahead, Mike. Do your part. I'm not looking on this.
I mean, this is a Gonzaga team that again, regular season, I like them. We know how they are in the tournament, but they're 8-2 right now, and I mean, they're. I'm looking at their schedule here. They've beaten some good teams, kind of. I mean, they lost to Duke, and they lost to Alabama. Wait, actually, their best wins against Texas when they were 5, so they have beaten good teams. They kind of fell apart against some other good teams, but Texas Tech. I'm looking at them too. They're kind of on the same level, honestly. I mean, I'm looking at their schedule. Some of the wins they have. They beat a Tennessee team. They beat. It's probably their best win. So each team really has one good win, but again, this is 5 versus 25. It's at Gonzaga. This is a matchup you don't see often, so I'm pretty intrigued by this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by this too. I keep looking in it, trying to find something to really go, oh, I want Texas Tech in this game, and
they seem pretty even.
This one, Mike, not at Gonzaga, no home team. This is at
that's right,
Center, Phoenix, Arizona. So
you're right.
But I mean, you look at the schedules on the so far. I mean, it's just really the one game you see for Texas Tech, an overtime win against Tennessee. The one before, though, starting off this month against Providence, in Providence as well. Their one true really road game in the last 5. It's a 4-point loss, but we've been saying all season long how we like that Providence team, and they showed it off there. That's one of the reasons we like them. They have these impressive wins. I mean, the one thing to me, it's defense for Gonzaga. Between Timmy and Chet, these two guys can really dominate the paint, and I think that's where they're going to get the advantage tonight. I mean, you're seeing the leading rebounder for this Texas Tech squad is one of their guards. They don't have big men that can compete against Timmy and Chet down in the paint. For that reason, and pretty much that reason alone, I'm giving the win to Gonzaga in this one.
So I looked at it. They did lose. They lost to Virginia, 85-77. But hats off for them again. And that's just 2019. So this game is definitely hyped up. I think it should be hyped up. Texas Tech going in. I mean, where'd you say it was playing? Is this a neutral site?
Neutral site,
Phoenix, yeah, part of a tournament.
All right. Oh, okay. But Gonzaga, like you said, they have that. They have that paint. Core. They have the balance in the paint. Chet is still young, but he's learning from Timmy. And I think that will be enough for them to get past this Texas Tech Raiders team. But, man, I so want to pick the upset right now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stick with the Zags, and I think they'll rebound and, get this win. They're still a pretty good team. They're still a top contender. They're still in the running to go and, win the tournament. So they lost some games. It's going to happen. You can't win every game all the time. Just make the tournament and win big games so you'll give a high seed and people won't think that you're a fake team. And this is one of those games that
Matt, you're right. With a Gonzaga team that's led by Chet Holmgren, who is, not fully developed yet. He's still sweet, but he's still a young guy. There's still some other young guys.
He's learning.
They lost 2 of the better players in the draft, but they still have Drew Timme, who's one of the better players in college basketball. But Matt, for some reason, this is a neutral site game. I'm going to go with Texas Tech here. In these neutral site games and tournaments, Gonzaga's probably the better team, but Texas Tech isn't too far off. Honestly, they're not. And like I said, I looked at their schedules. Personnel-wise, it might be different, but what they've done so far this year, they both have one good win. Gonzaga's lost some other good teams, and like you said, they can't win them all. But I just got a feeling with Texas Tech in this game. Neutral site games in tournaments, it doesn't really matter. And if this was in Gonzaga, I'd probably change my mind. But
I mean, yeah, you
just
saw
think
the way
of it-
some tournaments played out earlier in the season. I mean, Ohio State, we saw the really emergence of Xavier and Seton Hall.
Yeah.
Florida got off to a really hot start with some tournament play, and you even saw Ohio State find their rhythm. And they got some big wins in the tournament earlier in the season. So, to me, yeah, Texas Tech, if they can pick up the win here against Gonzaga, they're going to propel themselves up from 25th here. And I imagine if they beat Gonzaga, they'll probably be a top 15 team. And I imagine Gonzaga falls out as well of the top 10. So these two could probably finish starting next week around the same spot in the next AP poll that comes out.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Well, next game we got here on the list, two teams we've been saying to watch out for all season long. The number 16 Seton Hall in the Gotham Classic against the Iona Gales. We're talking Iona basketball once more. They're on a 3-game winning streak. Seton Hall on a 6-game win streak. And this game also this Saturday, 3 p.m. Fox Sports 2 from Madison Square Garden.
Matt, I know you like Iona.
And, Madison Square Garden just saw Steph Curry set records last night. So
expect
some big
sweet.
things this week. Yeah, can we put a brief mention out there? Great job, Steph. And we'll take a brief step aside here from college basketball. Matt, you and I were talking the other day up in Cleveland this Saturday, and we got to thinking, and we just both kind of came to the same conclusion with a little bit of discussion. When it's all said and done and Steph Curry decides to retire, it is very possible he goes down as the greatest of all time. There was the entire talk these last 20 years. LeBron has been hunting. The fact that I think LeBron has never crossed that plane into being considered the GOAT universally, it's left the door open for a guy like Steph Curry, who's beaten him in the finals multiple times. I mean, this just gives you the feel of what Michael Jordan did to so many greats. He kept guys from getting titles all throughout the 90s. He won 6 out of the 10 years in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, this just feels like what Steph Curry is doing to guys like LeBron. Durant wouldn't have one without Steph. Giannis wouldn't have one if Steph was healthy that one year. I mean, look at all the guys in the league that haven't been able. You go to the Western Conference, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. The list goes on and on of guys that haven't been able to get into the Western Conference final.
His brother.
Seth Curry could probably have a title and be recognized as one of the best three-point shooters in the league if it wasn't for little brother Steph. Steph Curry has done everything you could ask for out of the greatest of all time. Remember? What did Jordan do? He beat big guys. He had so many big moments. They all just kind of came into one. And you saw Jordan just completely change the game. Everything was hard-nosed, physical, underneath. Jordan brought in the flashiness that the Lakers dynasty before him had, and then made it everybody's game to be flashy. And now you've seen Steph Curry in the last 10 years take this game from the 2000s that was more mid-range oriented, going underneath. Guys like Shaq, LeBron, Giannis, those kind of players would dominate that era. And instead, you're seeing guys barely 6 foot able to launch these things up from half court and average 20 points per game. That. Steph has revolutionized the entirety of national basketball, college basketball, high school basketball, European basketball, Australian basketball. He has revolutionized basketball across the world. And I think that's one thing that not even Jordan did, was revolutionize it across the globe.
I'm going to go in
that's
here.
where I'm going.
Yeah.
Steph Curry
Matt, I'll be short.
has the chance to become the greatest of all time. And frankly, I think he needs maybe 1 or 2 more titles to do it.
And he could get it this year, Alec.
Right.
Go ahead.
Mike. Again, I know every player is different. Every era is different. That's why the MJ and LeBron debate so hard. But again, it's nothing against LeBron at all. I mean, everybody offers everything. But I don't know of a player that has changed the game, especially for youth players coming up like Steph Curry has. Everybody's trying to shoot threes like Steph Curry. Everybody in the NBA right now is trying to do that like Steph Curry. It's just he's changed the way you view 3-point lines. And for him to get that record last night, what was it, 2000? How many?
2,977.
Yeah, and for him to get that at age 33, like, what's it going to be when he retires?
He's young.
He's 33 years old. He's not slowing down.
He's not slowing down whatsoever. This guy's going to play till he's 40.
Like, Ray Allen broke that record, and then a couple years later he retires. Like, what? Steph's got at least, 7, 8 more years? I mean, he's not. It might slow down a little bit, the pace, because, he's getting a little older. But still, what is he going to finish with? It's unbelievable.
Well, guys, here's this part of that as well. Keep in mind, he also basically missed a season and a half and he's still already
Yes.
set this record. I mean, it kind of gives you that exact same feeling of the one record LeBron pretty much holds over the entirety of the NBA, it's either most consecutive games with 10 plus points or just most games with 10 plus points, in which he has over 1,000 of them. And the next highest was Jordan with like 841. And that list continues to grow. And he's going to probably hold that record for the rest of NBA's history. And Steph's going to do the same thing with this 3-point title. He is going to run away with it, and no one's ever going to come close unless we see this game go completely outside oriented. He's just too good, and he's played with – frankly, I think the biggest thing for him, he hasn't played with another big shooter outside besides Clay, and those two have just allowed this game to open up behind the 3-point line so much that no one is going to be able to come close to that, because since he was playing with Clay, the defense couldn't just focus on him. Then even what they did, they quadruple teamed him, he throws it up and somehow it goes in. I mean, he is just insane. But
and if
he doesn't
Clay,
even look half the time.
No, he's just launching it. It's Jordan at the free throw line, right?
I feel like it.
Matt,
I'm gonna toss one up.
It was Jordan at the free throw line, right?
Yeah, it's
Alec. I really think if Clay didn't miss 2 years of basketball, you can make an argument he could probably get.
Let me go into this real quick here.
No, Matt.
And we know. Wait, but one more thing with the bombs you were just talking about that Steph throws up. We know how it is when you play the Cavs. You just can't do it. You just sit there and shake your head. You can't do anything.
Steph will get his. We have to stop everybody else, and you just can't because he's just too good.
We gotta look at him. All right, I'm finally starting to relate.
Go ahead. Sorry.
A little bit, but for greater part of his career, I hated him. I hated him. I think I speak for everybody.
Just like everybody hated Jordan, right? When he played, no one's like, I hate that guy. He retires, then you go, yeah, that was the greatest basketball player we've ever seen. I think the same thing's going to happen with Steph.
But you're talking about when you hated him, and when he's going against our team, you can't stand him. But that's one thing I'll say about Jordan, and my dad said this about Jordan. As much as he loves the Cavs, Jordan beat us constantly, but my dad he respected him. He never hated him. He didn't like him, but he respected him. You can't beat the greatest.
I've always respected the Warriors and Steph Curry. I still couldn't stand to see them in the finals, and I was always terrified to go against them. I went, I know when we go up there, there's no chance. And that miracle 3-1 comeback was just that. It was a freaking miracle.
That was a miracle. Okay, that doesn't happen every day, and I'm happy that happened to our team. But Steph Curry would have 4 finals. He kind of fell off
in a row
that year against the Raptors, and I'm not going to really count that too much. Klay Thompson wasn't really Klay. That's the finals. Klay Thompson got hurt.
KD, and KD went out. The team fell apart, and you saw it there for the next year. They were at the bottom of the pool with all the injuries, and they're finally right back up where they
happened with That's the same thing that happened with Michael Jordan. He retired and went to baseball, and he came back, and he wasn't the same. That was Steph last year. Now he's back, and look.
Right, I think that's one thing you have to give it.
Won 3 more finals, and watch Stephen Curry do it.
He has the potential to go too. But how about we get back into some college basketball once again? Get back to Iona versus Seton Hall from Madison Square Garden. Since we wasted a bit of time there talking about it, I got Seton Hall to win this one. I like them. We've been picking them all season long. They're 16th in the rankings. This is one of my teams I've been looking at to put in my top 10. So I'm going to keep them up there and what I believe that they can do. And I'm taking Seton Hall over Iona.
Matt, this one's going to be hard for you.
Both of these teams. I've been hyping both of these teams. Iona, Rick Pitino, going back to the Madison
Iona, Matt.
Garden.
I know you want to.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm going to. I got to ring the bell for me. I'm picking the Gales, man. The Gales.
All right, Mike. Iona, Seton Hall. It's up to you.
I'm sticking with you, Alec. I'm rolling Seton Hall.
Oh,
that's a good choice.
Listen, I like Seton Hall. But
I think it's a hard matchup, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
Iona's playing good basketball. I mean, they both have 9-2 versus 9-1. They both similar basketball.
They made the tournament last year, and the fact that they made it was just tremendous. Rick Pitino returning back to that big stage that he was on.
Well, now we go away from the up-and-comers. Let's take a look back to the blue bloods of the sport. This one, the CBS Sports Classic, Saturday in Las Vegas, Nevada, from the T-Mobile Arena. The UCLA Bruins versus the UNC Tar Heels. One of the oldest matchups you can think of between blue bloods of the sport. This is what basketball lives for. UCLA averaging 81.1 points per game, led by Ju Zhang with 16.6 points per game. UNC right behind them, 80.4 points per game.
And they're about to
with
be ranked.
being led by Love with 16.2 points per game. These two teams about as even as you could ask for. The Bruins on a 4-game win streak, the Tar Heels on a 5.
And Alec, you're right. You just ran through it. I mean, both their points leaders are almost identical. The rebound leaders are almost identical, and their assists, their top assist guys are both averaging 4 assists. So these teams are very evenly matched. And it's a UNC team that's, like you said, Matt, they're 8-2. They win this game, but even if they don't win, eventually they should be ranked. They're going to be ranked because this team's good. And I mean, obviously if they win this game, it's a huge one.
They smacked the hell out of Michigan, too, to start out the month. And, I mean, since that start of the month, they've been averaging over 70. I mean, they've been averaging over 70 points a game this entire season. They were starting great against teams like Loyola of Maryland. This was a team that lost by just 9 points to Purdue. They lost by 17 to Tennessee. That Tennessee squad could be a team to watch out for this season. They continue to get some sneaky wins along the way. But this team has had an easy stretch out of these last 3. But, I mean, Purdue, Tennessee, and Michigan were 3 of their 4 opponents before that stand, and they came out winning 1 out of 3 of those. It's a dangerous squad, but they definitely have holes, and I think UCLA, they've at least shown a little bit more consistency. I love the Marquette win for them. I think that's what's keeping them in my brain for me. We talked about that Marquette game, as the marquee matchup, and to me, they came out with that win. Because of that, I'm throwing the Gonzaga game out the window. Give me the Bruins.
You know what? I like North Carolina. I've been a little bit of a fan of them in the past. Since I was a kid, I like their colors. But I've grown fond of their coaching. I've grown fond of their players that they had in recent years. And, yes, they lost a couple of those games. That one to Tennessee didn't look too well. But, I mean, losing to that Purdue team by that amount of points, I mean, they came close, 93-84. That's not a huge deficit. And, yes, I mean, they destroyed Michigan. And Michigan, yes, they were on the fall. They were going out. But a lot of people are saying, this is the reason why they're not ranked. They're playing bad teams, and they're winning. But this is the game that people are going to shut their mouths. And North Carolina is going to come out here, and I think they're going to win this game. I'm going to pick North Carolina here. I think they're going to come out and prove these people wrong and win this game.
Mike?
Matt, I'm going to roll with you too.
Yeah.
I'm taking Carolina. And you pretty much took what I was going to say about them too. And this UCLA team, I'm not calling them overrated, but for some reason I don't feel like other people do about them right now. For some reason, I just don't. And I mean, I don't really think UNC's off by that much with UCLA right now. I really don't. I think, Alex showed that they're playing, their guys are playing the similar way. They're playing similar basketball right now. But I just feel like an upset's coming with this one. In Carolina's beaten. I know they weren't 4th in the country, but they beat Michigan and smacked them around. So they can beat good teams, and I think they're gonna win this one.
All right. Well, 2 UNCs, 1 Bruin. Next game we were going to talk about actually was just canceled as well. We were going to talk Duke versus Cleveland State. I was saying the potential upset could have been there. I mean, Cleveland State's been very sneaky out of the Horizon League, and I think they gave a nice tournament scare to a team last year. So that was a game we were going to look at, but it's been postponed. So we moved down the list to a battle of the Big East, 2 elite teams, and one of the ones we've been very hyped upon this season. The other one has potentially the best women's basketball program in the history of ever. The Yukon Huskies at 9-2, ranked 20th in the nation this Saturday at 5 p.m. against the Providence Friars at 10-1, still unranked despite a strong schedule so far. This team has been dominant. They just beat Central Connecticut last time out, so now they're going for the University of Connecticut. This is a team that obviously beat that Texas Tech squad. Their only loss was really a fluke, an entirely massive fluke game. They lost 58-40 against Virginia, and that's the only question mark. I mean, the rest of the season, they were dominating. They beat Northwestern, who I believe is technically in 4th place right now in the Big Ten, even though, yes, it's still early. But technically, that's a team that was now 4th place in the Big Ten. They beat Wisconsin. They've beat some big teams along the way, and Providence is a very lethal unit, and they're being led right now by Nate Watson, the senior center, 6'10", averaging 15.5 points per game right now. To me, I'm going to go ahead and make a quick pick because I know we got to get through some of these here at the end. We got a ways to go. Give me the Friars. I like Providence.
You know what? I like Providence too, man. They're coming around. And
all right, Mike.
I got your Providence.
Just quickly though, I feel bad for Cleveland State that game got canceled because they had an opportunity to go to Cameron Indoor and play a game. That sucks for them. But
yeah,
I'm gonna roll with UConn here. It looks they cooled off a little bit, but at the beginning of the year they were scoring a lot of points. They just put up 115 and 2 overtimes against Auburn. I mean against a good West Virginia team, that was a low scoring game, but they beat a good St. Bonaventure team that I don't think we talk about as much. They beat them, put up almost 80 on them. So I think they're scoring a lot, not as much as they were, but I think they could still score the ball. So I'm going to go UConn.
All right. Well, I'm going to put a quick change into here. Instead of Duke versus Cleveland State, we're going to take a look at Xavier versus Marquette, a huge matchup in Cincinnati, Ohio, 4 p.m. this Saturday. I made the change here. You know what? I'm sticking in state. I'm taking Xavier to win that ball game.
Mike, go ahead. I'm still thinking.
Marquette's a team I've always kind of liked for some reason. Not like a fan, but
I like them too.
They've had some good guys come out of there. I like Xavier. I like what they've done against. We saw them against Ohio State. We saw them. Their team the last few years. They're 9-1 right now, but the last few years we know that they could play. But I'm gonna roll with Marquette.
Fair enough, Mike. Matt.
Mike, you said they've had some good players come out of there. Dwayne Wade, but
Marquette, yeah.
Yeah, you went to Marquette.
Jimmy Butler.
All right,
Marquette. Matt, make the pick here.
Right. I'm going to go Marquette as well. I like this team.
All right. I'm the only one rolling in state here, apparently.
Hey, I like Xavier, too. I do. I like the Buckeye win, but Marquette is moving, all right? They're moving.
Okay.
I got to roll with
them. Let's talk about the team that got beat by Xavier, Ohio State, once again in the CBS Sports Classic against the Wildcats of Kentucky. This Saturday, 5:15. This should be a massive matchup. E.J. Liddell, everybody, he put the league on notice. He is averaging 20.6 points per game right now. He has gone off in this last 5. They sit on a 4-game winning streak over Duke, Penn State, Towson, and Wisconsin, and they are in the running for the Big Ten here early. They normally are here early on. They slip up pretty much around this part of the season. Once you hit mid-December, they get near Christmas, they start slipping. ESPN's Bpi Matchup Predictor gives Kentucky a 61% chance to win this. They're giving the Buckeyes less than 40% chance to win this basketball game, and it probably is because of one man, Oscar Tshiebwe, the junior forward from Kentucky averaging 16.3 and 14.4 rebounds per game. I believe that leads the nation, while also shooting near 70% from the field for this Wildcat squad. That being said, I can't turn my back on the Buckeyes. I'm wearing them. Give me the scarlet and gray.
What'd you say the win percentage was in this game?
61.6% for Kentucky.
For Kentucky? Well, I'm sure it was high last game, too. You know what? They lost to Notre Dame. Okay? We watched that game. And you know what? It's going to happen here. I don't care about percentages. E.J. Liddell is the man. And Wheeler from Penn State is wheeling and dealing, too. 4 point. I mean, he's rolling. He's doing – I think he fits better here in Ohio State because there's so much talent that could be at Penn State, but I don't like their coaching. I really don't. So he came here and he's doing fairly well.
I thought you liked Shrewsbury.
Who?
The Penn State's coach.
No, I like the guy they had before. I
thought you liked him when they hired him. I like him.
No.
All right,
I'm going Buckeyes, man.
Mike, go ahead and make your pick here: the Buckeyes or the Wildcats.
So you talked about Kentucky, their best player. I feel like Ohio State has better, and I questioned them too at the beginning of the year. You remember this? Who was going to step up for them scoring? They've gotten a couple guys to step up. So I don't think Kentucky has that many weapons to stay with Ohio State, and I didn't think Wisconsin was going to beat Ohio State either. So I expect them to win this one too.
All right. Well, we got the Buckeyes across the board. I love to see it. We have a upset brewing in Louisiana this weekend. The LSU Tigers against the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. 88.5% chance the Tigers pull this off. They're 9-0 to start out the season. The Bulldogs 8-2. They sit on a 4-game win streak. Their last loss to NC State. I say there's a chance, but it's slim and none, and I got the Tigers to go 10-0. I got them on the edge of my top 10. I really like the team so far. It's go a long way to cement that start to the season, so I got the Tigers.
I'm sorry, what day is this game again?
This one will be also on Saturday at 7.
Okay, yeah, and I agree with you about LSU. They're playing good basketball too, and they're a borderline top 10 team. And Matt, we saw them against Penn State. Penn State hung around with them, but they made enough plays to get push them overtime, but they made enough to get through it. So, yeah, I think they're playing good ball too, and it's a team that you normally don't see up towards the top of the rankings, but right now they deserve to be there.
I'm going Tigers.
Okay, go Tigers.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get down to our final few games here. Got to continue to roll through. We still got NBA and NHL to go into to finish out the show. This one, a 98.7% chance to win it for the home team in this contest from Kansas. The Jayhawks 8-1, number 7, going up against the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin, who have started the season 8-3. They're being led by small forward Gavin Kensmill, who's averaging 16 points per game on 62.9% shooting from the field. I like him. I think he's dangerous in this game. But Kansas, man, they got a guy going off as well. Senior guard Ochai Agbaji. 22.4 points per game. He's getting off to the races here in the early stages. But, I mean, look at the scoring of this SFA team, 77.9. I like him. It is almost 10 points behind Kansas, and they did just lose their last game against UL Monroe, the Warhawks, who are 6-4 on the season. But we saw Kansas slip up against Dayton earlier this season. To me, that leaves this door open. It was a 1-point game against a team that has now turned into 7-4, and they have a pretty good win over Virginia Tech on their last outing. So Kansas, they put 102 up over Mizzou in that last game. What are your guys' thoughts? Can the Jayhawks hang on?
And Alec, they put up 87 against the Michigan State team. That's surging again. But
yeah,
I think it could be close. I don't think they're going to win though. SFA.
It's a good Cinderella story, but I mean,
Alec with Abaji too. He's one of the better guys in the country too, and he was there last year. He has a full year under his belt. I know they lost to Dayton, but I'm one of those. I'm one of those people. I don't think it's going to happen again. It's hard to happen again. It just happens. But yeah, I think I like Kansas. This one's at home. I don't think they're going to let one slip away.
But yeah, I mean, this Austin team is a good Cinderella story. But you know what happens to every one of those stories? It goes out at midnight. So Kansas is going to take this one here.
And I mean, they beat Duke a few years ago.
I got Kansas as well. Yeah.
But you never know, though. You never know. Freak things happen.
Yeah, but it's not March yet. It's Christmas time, and Kansas about to get this one wrapped in gold. I got BYU versus Weber State next. BYU coming off a 12-point loss to the Creighton Blue Jays. They are 8-2 on the season. Weber State on Saturday at 8 p.m. come in as a 9-1 squad. It is a home game for them as well, where they have been 4-0 in that stadium. They are coming off an 82-36 win over University of Maine. They haven't really played major teams so far in the season. They got blown out by Washington State by 34 on December 8th. But, they have some okay wins, and it's just that record. You come in. When you see a team start 9-1, sometimes it's just not about who you've played, and it's just, what have you done? And sometimes those teams will just come in with some momentum rolling along, and you already saw BYU slip up this season. I got a chance for Weber State. Don't count them out.
Yeah, but I'm looking at their schedule too. You talk about what you've done. Beat Oregon when they were 12. They beat San Diego State, who's normally pretty scrappy. They beat Utah, who's 7-3 right now. They're playing good, and Utah State's a decent win. They lose to Creighton, but that's Creighton's a good team. So I think BYU has a better resume. I mean, it's basketball. Anything can happen. It's one game, but I got to roll with BYU.
That's a good pick.
This is tough here. Probably.
Is it really?
I guess I gotta go, but BYU here.
Well, I feel like I've been taking risky picks all day long. So, with that being said, this is a pretty good conference that you see Weber State in the West Coast Conference. Number one in their league is the San Francisco Dons.
The Dons.
Weber State could be right up there next to them. For that reason, and the fact that this team averages more points per game, better field goal percentage, and they're averaging almost 10 steals per game defensively. In the last 5, you've seen BYU not be so hot. I'm going Weber State. Give me the bell, baby. I don't know why. I've been feeling risky today. That's why I put it on here. I was putting a bunch of games on here that I could pick. This is the one I went with. I'm pulling a risky card. I don't think it's going to happen. I got a big feeling BYU is going to kick the crap out of the Weber State boys. But hey, give them a fighting chance in this one. I'm just going to give it a shot. Why not?
Yep.
Throw a shot in the dark here, see if it pays off. But final game on the slate. And this one was just a late one to throw in there. Felt like talking about this team real quick. The number one team in the nation, the Baylor Bears, this Saturday at 10 p.m. They have the Ducks from Oregon, who are 4-1 at home. And that's important because this game is in Matthew Knight Arena in Eugene, Oregon. But you've seen 3 out of the last 5 dropped for Oregon, including their last 2. Every major team they faced in that last 5 games, they've lost to. So it's been a pretty crappy start. Everyone wants to say, oh, they were hot to start the season. That's why preseason rankings don't matter too much, because you got a team at 5-5 about to get their butts kicked by the number one Baylor Bears. This ain't even a question for me. I got Baylor.
I got Baylor too. I think
Baylor.
To me, I think Purdue's the best team in the country, but Baylor's right there. I mean, Purdue, yeah, Baylor's right there. So I don't really see any reason to pick Oregon in this game. It could be – no, actually, I don't even think it's going to be close. I thought maybe because I thought maybe, but no, they're slumping right now. I mean, maybe it'll be close because they're at home, but I don't see it. Baylor's just on a different level than they are.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's go ahead and take a look into the NHL. We'll step aside out of college now with just a few minutes remaining on this Wednesday edition of the podcast. We got the Avalanche versus the Predators, 2 teams at 3rd and 4th in the Central Division of the West. And 17-7-2 Avalanche, 17-10-1 Predators. You guys know how I make my picks. What do you got going on in this one?
I'm sorry, what day is this game? I can't. Oh, here it is.
This one's tomorrow.
Okay. Matt, you got anything on Nashville? Colorado's not playing like they used to.
No,
like they did
they're on a
last year.
5-game winning streak, though.
I know, but they're picking things up. But at the beginning of the year, I know you start out slow, but they didn't look as dominant. I don't know about dominant, but just as good they did probably 2 years ago, especially last year.
They've been a force of this league for the past couple of years. They've been a playoff team, and I know where you're coming from. They're coming back in.
Yeah.
The Predators are right below them too by 1 point. 35 points to the Predators and 36 to the Avalanche. So this is a very tricky game to pick here, and it's a very tough game to pick because they're right there. That one team can jump in front of each other. It's going to be a blowout.
It's going to be a runaway. Oh, no question. I got the Avalanche. Number 1 scoring offense in the league. Oh, yeah. They got a 27-goal differential here. Predators, just a 6-goal differential. They've scored just 81 points. That is one of the worst marks in their division. So, to me, they can't score the rock. They got some okay defense, but the Avalanche have just given up 11 more goals on the season, and they scored 113. Matt, you and I were talking about the Wild yesterday and how many goals they have scored. I apparently overlooked the Avalanche, who had the record last year for most goals per game average. This team with the Avalanche here is on a pace to potentially break what they did last season as well. And they're a 5-game win streak. You look at their last 5, 4 against the Rangers, 3 against the Panthers, 7 against the Red Wings, 7 against the Rangers, 7 against the Flyers. This team can score, man. Give me the Avalanche. They're an Avalanche, baby.
Matt, you were going to pick the Predators. Now you're changing your mind.
Oh, yeah.
No, I wasn't going to pick the Predators.
It sounded like you were going to.
I was looking. I always build things up before I pick. The Predators, they're both. They're a wild card team. Avalanche is third? They're one of the top seeds. I think they're the 3rd seed.
Yeah,
I believe. But like you said, I mean, They're scoring up on. I mean, 7 against Philly, but they let 5 goals in that game. It was 7-5. You got to look at their defense. You talked about their scoring backs up the defense, but defense is always first here. But the last time they played Nashville, they scored 6 on them, and Nashville only scored 2. And that's my main reason here. They're going to do the same thing again. The Avalanche is just going to be too much for them.
I'm going to pick Nashville.
Win again. You pick Nashville? All right.
You guys think there's no chance? I'll pick Nashville then.
All right.
I don't think there's no chance. I just think that there's a pretty darn good chance that Avalanche is going to win.
I mean, you do have off nights though. For how much?
There's no such thing as no chances in sports.
As much as Colorado scores, though,
people said
when there's high-powered offense, Matt. When there's high-powered offenses, I mean, you do have some slump nights, and they could have it in this game. So I'm going Nashville.
All right.
Well, that makes me feel pretty confident with my pick there. The only times, out of all the times, pardon me, that Mike has gone against us, only twice has he ever been right. So
whatever.
I feel pretty. I'm just looking statistics here, Mike. I'm just looking statistically.
No, I'm just saying. I'll pick the underdog. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, go for it. I mean, changes things up a little bit, but I just got to look it back to I think 2-3 weeks ago. You went different out of 4 of the 5 games, and you were wrong 4 out of those 5 games. So I'm liking what statistics tell me. So that's what I'm going with. One final game to finish out the show. NBA basketball, LA Clippers tonight, 10 p.m. in Utah to take on the 19-7 Jazz, who have been on a 7-game winning streak. Right now, that is first in the NBA. The Suns lost theirs. They are back in now a 1-game winning streak after their last game. This is the 3rd place team in the Western Conference. The Jazz Clippers sit at number 5, 8-2 in that last 10 as well. That win streak's too hot right now. Same reason I was picking the Suns when they were about 8 or 9 games. I just think they're on fire. I'm sticking with the hot hand. I got the Jazz.
I'm sticking with the Jazz. I
got Jazz too.
People are talking about the Warriors and the Suns in the Western Conference, which they should be, but people are forgetting about the Jazz. They really are. I mean, they're not too far off between those teams. I talked about when they play the Cavs in that game, Matt. They shoot threes, and they're not afraid to shoot them, and they make them too. So they're averaging 115 points as a team. I like them in this game.
I do too.
Well, there you have it. That is the Casual Sports Podcast Power Hour coming up next here on YSN 3 p.m. Come on back tomorrow. We'll previewing the first of many bowl weekends here on the Casual Sports Podcast as we hit about a week till Christmas this Friday. So come on back, this Saturday. Come on back the next 2 days, finish out the week before you head off for your holiday travels. We will be back all next week, though. Podcast every day, mostly Mike and I, Matt, and when he can, but that does it. Make sure to come back tomorrow. I'm Alec. That's Mike and Matt over there. We'll see you all next time.